Hello YouTube, and welcome to the Body Honesty Project. My name is Lydia, and today we are celebrating 10,000 subs! And I couldn't have done it without you. And as part of the celebration, I'm going to be answering your questions. I'd like to thank everyone so much for all their wonderful feedback on that community post and all the love that I've been receiving for the past 3 years. Well, almost 3 years. It took me a lot longer to get to 10K than a lot of other tubers, but I'm glad that I got here. If anything, it was a learning experience. So let's get into the questions. Do you think FatAcceptance will continue to gain popularity or go on a downward trajectory in the next few years? Well, I did think it was gaining popularity, but I honestly think with this whole Ozempic Wegovy thing that it's gonna go down. Because more and more people are proving with Ozempic and Wegovy that it is calories in versus calories out. If we eat less, we do lose weight. So a lot of these arguments are getting more and more obvious in the mainstream. So before the GLP drugs were hitting the market, I would say yes, it was increasing. But now that we do have these drugs and more people are conquering their obesity, especially celebrities, I think that it's gonna go down. Okay, on to the next one. There are people who struggle with restrictive eating disorders and people who struggle with binge eating disorders. Sometimes advice that is helpful for one end of the spectrum can be damaging for people on the opposite end. Do you think it's possible to create advice content that is helpful for everyone, regardless of where they fall on the spectrum? Or is it up to the individual to be discerning about what they are consuming and integrating into their lives based on their unique scenario? Well, I do think that there is an overall guideline to healthy living, meaning eating a reasonable amount of calories, doing a reasonable amount of exercise, and making sure we take care of our mental health. I do think that that is a reasonable guideline for everybody, no matter where you fall on the spectrum. But I do find it extremely damaging for someone that's been struggling with a real restrictive eating disorder that has to get over that restriction to be telling the same information to someone who has a binge eating disorder. I do think that creators like Anti-Diet Pilot kind of make a bit of a mess of this because they're trying to get over their own restrictive tendencies and are projecting that onto people that have overeating tendencies, which I think can cause a bit of a mess. But as a general guideline of eat enough and move enough, well, I guess that would be a healthy guideline for anyone. Have you noticed a shift in the body positivity and or fat positive community? People leaving, shift in messaging, gaining more momentum, etc. And where do you see those changes going in the coming year? Well, I have been noticing that over the past few years, the messaging has changed. I mean, look at Tess Holliday as a perfect example. They used to come out saying, we are healthy. Tess's magazine article was about being fit and strong and 300 pounds. But then the messaging started to change that, well, it doesn't matter if we're healthy. And my health is none of your business. And my health is not a prerequisite for me to be treated a certain way. And then to the point of, well, I'm not healthy and it's ableist for you to not accommodate me. So the messaging for sure has been changing. And while it's been changing, reality has been happening. And many of these activists have been passing. So their messaging is changing. And I think it's gonna get even worse this next year, but maybe we'll start to come out of it the year after. Sad to say, I think some of these popular fat activists need to get really sick or have something happen to them for something to change. So proud of how my fellow Ontarian has come. Thank you. I'd love to know if you are seeing more pushback and negativity towards you from the fat activists as your channel grows. Well, I've had only 2 major interactions with trolls. I made a video about one troll that has literally put like 100 comments on my page, including on my wedding photos, which had nothing to do with fat activism whatsoever, but whatever. And then of course I had that battle with FSB. I do get troll comments here and there. I don't know who they are. They are fat activists, but they're not any names that I know, or maybe they have TikToks. I kind of ignore the trolls for the most part. I might respond to 1 or 2 comments, but I haven't been getting that much. However, now that FSB knows who I am, I'm expecting more in the next year. Congrats, you've earned each and every one of those subs. My question for you is, with the rise of fat influencers and the unfortunate string of deaths attached to this so-called movement, Cat Paws, Jamie Lopez, Life by Jen, Is there anyone within the fat influencers whose health struggles or death would break the movement? So far, we haven't seen anyone within FatAcceptance acknowledge or start a conversation regarding their fallen members. That is very true, and that is also very sad. I think that it would have to be a big one, like Tess Holiday, for them to maybe change. Or maybe Fat Fab Feminist or Jordan. I don't know, this community seems to pretend like these fallen members never existed after their passing, which is truly, truly sad. Question, do you think that normalizing being overweight or obese removes the incentive to change? Example, why should I lose the weight if being overweight or obese is normal and okay? I do think this is the problem. Alan Roberts has a much harsher view on this, as he says, let's normalize calling people fat as. And I don't think I want to go that far, but I don't think we should be lying to people anymore. It's not okay. We can tell that you're unhealthy. It is impossible to be morbidly obese and healthy. It just is. And I think this whole normalizing and accommodating people is getting out of control. What are your thoughts on the new science and changing opinions in the medical community pointing to a muscle crisis versus an obesity crisis? For example, a lack of muscle mass being more unhealthy than too much body fat. How do you see exercise and diet weighted in creating a healthy body? Well, I do think that having adequate muscle mass is important, but I think that the lack of muscle mass applies more to people that are anywhere between underweight to slightly overweight. Because if you're obese, your first concern should be losing the fat. There's no amount of muscle that you can put on that will compensate for the amount of fat that you have. So yes, having an adequate amount of muscle is important, but I think that's more of a concern if you're already at a healthy weight. Of course, you can work on the two things concurrently. That's not an issue. But saying that it's always muscle related versus fat, in order to get that ratio correct, if you're morbidly obese, you cannot gain that amount of muscle. It's just impossible. So I think that our body fat percentage and the amount of lean muscle mass we have are equally important. What's your favorite video you've ever made? And also, who's your favorite guest you've ever had on? Okay, so my favorite video is actually not flashy at all. At all, this is from the very, very early times of my 25-pound yo-yo. And that was the first video where I said that thin privilege doesn't exist. Because that video, it took me forever to come up with that argument. And that's the video where I'm showing that fat privilege exists, where I'm comparing an obese woman with a black woman, a poor man, and a disabled man, and showing how obese people are the only ones that have counter privilege. And when I introduced that concept of counter privilege, I don't know, I was just really proud of how the logic came together in that video. I'm not proud of the production quality of it. That is old, the production quality blows. I should probably do it again and do it with the skills that I have now, because I'm much, much, much better now. But as far as content goes, that's my favorite video. As far as production value goes, well, probably one of my Tess Holiday videos. I actually think I did a good job on the Not Really a Model video, and also the F Your Beauty Standards ones for production value and content. But for pure content, that very, very first one about introducing the concept of counter privilege, that's probably my favorite. And as for favorite guest, I think everyone probably knows this already. Starzan. Lady Starzan and I are very, very good friends, and we message each other all the time during the week, and it's just like having a great chat with a good friend when she comes on the channel. So yeah, hands down, Starzan. Congratulations. Random question, but since I think we are from the same generation, did you grow up wearing cotton ginny, au catin, roots, beaver canoe, LOL, getting muffins from the mall from Muffins? Yes, I totally did. And the ones that I got at Muffins were the streusel top ones. I didn't get the standard ones. It had to be the streusel top one, and I usually like the blueberry jam ones in the center. Very funny. Yes, I did. And I also would go to Orange Julius after that. What do you usually do when someone that is a part of the FatAcceptance recognizes you in public? Has it ever happened, and what would you do if it did happen? Well, it has not happened. I have recognized Marissa Matthews in public before. She was at a Starbucks. I'm from Ottawa, so I have seen her in public, but I didn't get a chance to engage with her. But I'm not big enough, I don't think, for them to actually recognize me in the streets. I mean, I've only been recognized a couple of times by you people. So I don't think, I don't know if it will happen. If it did, I'm ready. I've got an encyclopedia up here ready to debate. So if it ever were to happen, and if they wanted to confront me, I know what I know, and I have my facts ready for a fight. Do you think that the FatAcceptance group took advice meant for people recovering from severe restrictive EDs? Yes, they completely took it. But I don't know if they took it and believe it, or they just took it to find an excuse. I'm still not convinced that they think that they restrict. I'm not. I think that they're using this as a shield so that people don't confront them and talk about their overeating, so they can just quip back and say, no, I actually over-restrict. That's what I think. Are there any FA-related points or issues you agree with them on? I am sensitive to the actual bullying. I don't like it when people name call. I don't like it when I see them getting comments like just being a pig or something like that. I do believe that they do face problems, and I do believe that there is medical fat phobia. There are going to be doctors that don't want to look at the issue and just say, you're fat. So I do believe that they have some issues. The discrimination ones and some of the treatment, some of it exists. But I don't believe it's to the extent, and I really hate them comparing it to racism and homophobia and stuff like that, because it's not the same. But I do believe that they do encounter medical fat phobia, and they do have to deal with assholes. Besides FSB, have any of the fat activists you showcased in your videos ever contacted you telling you your content upset them? No, but I'm waiting for it. I would love Hannah to find me. I'd love Hannah to find me, because I have dragged Hannah a lot. And Hannah likes to have all these intelligent arguments, but if you just dig an inch deeper, you can find out that what she's saying is BS. So, you ever feel like fat acceptance and body positivity are defensiveness disguised as activism? Yes. I think that deep down, none of these people believe it. They're just trying to shield their egos and protect themselves. They're living deep in their echo chamber, and they're pretending and puffering and posturing that everything is fine, just as it is. But I think that they know deep down, it really, really isn't. Alright, so that's all the questions that everyone asked me. I am so thankful for all of my subbies. 10,000 subs now, and I can't wait to grow to 20,000 next year. And before I conclude, I need to give a couple special shoutouts to my OGs who have been with me since I had like 24 subs. And to my most popular commenters. You guys watch like every video and always send me such intelligent commentary. I look forward to reading what you have to say every single week. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And lastly, I want to send a big thank you to my YouTube community. We started working together at the beginning of last year, and through collaboration after collaboration, through game after game, we have built this community, and I actually look at all of you as my friends. So thank you again. So until next time, stay body positive, but also body honest.